What it do? Bedtime crew. Hey man, listen. Today I'm gonna be giving my thoughts, my prediction on Kamaru Usman versus Khamzat Chimaev, and next week I'm gonna do Volk versus Islam too. But right now, let's talk about this co-main event. We've got Khamzat Chimaev taking on Kamaru Usman at middleweight. Now that's interesting to me because if this was at welterweight, I would say, you know what? The weight cut of Chimaev, the fact that Usman, he's going to be cutting down. I would say that this is a lot more hard to predict and a lot more based on the grappling. I think if this was a welterweight fight, this fight would 100% rely on the grappling. But I think at middleweight that there's a factor that we usually don't talk about with Kamaru Usman. And that's the size, bro. Dude's about to get little broed in this fucking fight, dude. I'm not trying to go Lucas Tracy mode right now, but dude, Khamzat Chimaev, I don't think he's going to have an easy time taking down Kamaru Usman. That's the first thing I want to talk about. Kamaru Usman's takedown defense is very high level. He's always been a muscular, strong guy. At middleweight, though, I think that will be mitigated because Khamzat's probably bigger than him right now. He's been preparing to fight a ginormous, strong and jacket Giga Chad Paulo Costa. Still a Chad. I don't care that he pulled out. He's still a Chad, bro. This guy literally owns Dana White. Guarantee in like 3 or 4 months, we're going to be seeing Paulo Costa get announced to fight somebody fucking crazy. And the whole cycle will begin again. Everybody will love Costa again. But in the grappling, I feel like Chimaev's going to shoot early and get stuffed. I think if I had to break this fight down minute by minute, I would say Chimaev comes out, tries to take down Usman, maybe puts him against the fence, maybe gets him down for a second, pulls at his legs a little bit. Usman gets back up against the fence, spins him to the fence, maybe tries to take down Chimaev. They kind of scramble a bit. Don't think he takes down Chimaev super easily. They get off the fence, they back out in the open. And what I really want to talk about, dude, I think that near the end of the first round, Khamzat Chimaev is going to KO Kamaru Usman. I think that Kamaru Usman is going to get KO'd in this fight. I think the fact that he's taking this on short notice, the fact that his body really isn't conditioned to wrestling at this point in his career, he himself has kind of veered away from the wrestling because of the strain that it puts on his body. The fact that it probably drains his cardio a lot more than it should, right? Or that you would think from a guy with Usman who has such a good gas tank. I think if he comes out trying to grapple this whole fight, he's gonna gas, bro, or he's gonna struggle. Like it's not gonna be as easy for him, I think, because the size difference is so huge. This isn't fucking Masvidal, bro. This isn't fucking Gilbert Burns, dude. I know he didn't really grapple with Burns, but this is a big fucking guy, man. And if you're getting dropped by Burns, I think you look at the power that Chimaev has. Nobody really talks about it. When people are talking about this matchup, they're talking about, oh, can Chimaev take him down? Can Chimaev sub him? Can Usman, walk down Chimaev? I feel like one of the biggest factors that nobody talks about with Chimaev is his power. He's got one-shot KO power. And at middleweight, we've seen it. I know it's against GM3, but you also look at the Aliskerov fight. You look at the fact that he dropped Gilbert Burns with one jab, like quite badly with a jab. And basically everything that he touched Gilbert Burns with was hurting him. I really think that Kamaru Usman and where he's at in his career, the chin that he has right now, I know he hasn't fought since March, but he's fought more recently than Chimaev. He's taken a lot more damage than Chimaev. You look at the legs on him, the wrestling's going to be hard for him. You look at the chin, I just see a world where Chimaev fakes that takedown, hits a nasty uppercut and chins Usman, or Usman goes to shoot and gets caught on the way in and gets TKO'd. I really think that we're going to see a finish by Chimaev, and I don't think it's going to be a submission. I actually think that in the grappling, Usman's going to impress Chimaev. He's going to actually be kind of negating to the main skill set of Chimaev. I think he's going to stuff the takedown. I think he's going to scramble well. They're going to get back out in the open. Usman's confidence will rise a little bit, and I think that will be his downfall. I think that Usman has the skills to beat Chimaev, but I think those skills will give him overconfidence. We see it a lot of the time in his fights where he's very focused, but those habits, once he thinks he's got you, he's a little bit more cocky. He's going to fling that jab out a little slower. He's going to put together more combos and try and hit you a few more times. He's going to start being a little bit more reckless to try and pressure you and make you break and then take you down. And I think against Chimaev's happy to block, and then boom, catch him with a heavy shot. And genuinely, I do think Chimaev's going to win by KO. That's my pick for this fight, man. like I said, overall, what I want to say about this fight, I think Chimaev and Usman are going to be pretty competitive in the grappling. I think Chimaev's going to try and bull rush him. Usman's going to be too strong in the hips. I think they're gonna end up against the fence. We're gonna see a scramble of some type, maybe just even switching positions. And then I think once they break back out into the open, be ready for a KO. That's what I'm gonna say. Once they break out back into the open, be ready for a knockout, because I really can see a Chimaev uppercut. I can see a Chimaev jab hurting Usman. I can see the narrative afterwards as well, where people are like, "Oh, we all thought it was gonna be Chimaev by submission. He just KO'd Kamaru Usman. Like, this guy doesn't even need to use his grappling. You know, like middleweight Chimaev is different. You know what I mean? I can see that happening, and I really do think that we're gonna see a very, very shocking like finish. I think Chimaev's gonna fucking maybe go away from the grappling. And I think the same way that Usman kind of avoids it, Chimaev will test it out and go, okay, this is too much work. Maybe he gets a takedown, but it's a lot of work, and Usman gets back up. I think he'll just stop the wrestling. So I think round 1 or round 2, Chimaev either fakes a takedown, hits an uppercut, or, you know, a nasty little left hook, or I can honestly see a jab. I can genuinely see a jab hurting Usman. Chimaev's a big dude, and he hits fucking hard, man. And he really does have power at middleweight. Like, I haven't seen anybody else really talk about this. I don't know. I've watched a few videos on the topic. I see a lot of people talking about the grappling, and obviously that's something to consider. But I don't know, man. Even from a picks perspective, the picks that I get right, that people are like, wow, that's crazy. It's always when a specialist does something that they're not supposed to do, like a submission guy getting a KO or a KO guy getting a submission. And I can just see this weird world where Chimaev chins Usman. So that's going to be my pick for this fight. I'm super excited for this matchup. To be honest, I was more sad that Costa's out of the fight against Chimaev than I was about Charles being out of the Islam fight. I really wish we could have had Costa versus Chimaev. I do think that's a very intriguing matchup, but I will agree with one thing that Lucas Tracy has said. He said, this is more of an accomplishment for Chimaev to beat Usman than it is to beat Costa. I agree. I think this is still very deserving of being top 5 at middleweight. You're beating a number 1 contender in the UFC. But if he gets a title shot, I don't know, man. I don't agree with that. I think Dricus definitely deserves it. But I understand that it's different now that Izzy's not the champ. You can't make that Dricus fight as exciting for the belt. So if we end up with Chimaev versus Strickland, I'm not going to be mad. I'm going to be very excited, because I do think that whoever gets to the belt first, whoever gets to the title shot first, out of Chimaev and Dricus, will win the belt. And if it's Chimaev, I think Chimaev beats Sean Strickland. So we're going to have to see. He has to get through Usman first. But yeah, bro, fuck. Last thing I want to say as well, shout out to fucking Dana White, dude. This is literally, imagine any other sport where we get fights this good as replacements, dude. I legit went to sleep without the replacement opponent being announced. I thought I was going to wake up to like Val Woodburn has stepped in, or Bruno Ferreira is going to fight Khamzat, or Paul Craig stepped in, some shit. Like, that's the best case scenario, was going to be like, oh my God, guys, Brendan Allen has stepped in. And then I wake up and it's Kamaru Usman. So respects to Kamaru, shout out to Dana White. There's a lot of bad things about the UFC, but the short notice, the fact that they can save these cards, that's so fucking sick, dude. So, but yeah, that's my pick on Chimaev versus Usman. Let me know what you guys think down below of this matchup, and maybe let me know who you got for the main event. I'll do a video on that next week, like the day before the fight, basically. And yeah, man, I'm so hyped for this card, bro. I cannot wait. So let me know what you guys think down below. Make sure you drop a like on the video. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. And yeah, go follow me on the gram at Bedtime MMA. See you in the next video, boys. Goodbye, brother.